grand today. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Hey, it's Matt Bear for Concrete Exteriors. Don't wait to beautify your home for summer for a fresh new look and increased home value. New siding by Concrete Exteriors is the answer. From James Hardy fiber cement siding to a big array of vinyl siding colors and styles, the experienced pros at Concrete have all the choices. Plus, a lifetime workmanship warranty and over 10,000 satisfied customers. For your free estimate, call Concrete Exteriors at 317-ROOFING or visit concreteexteriors.com. Tell them I sent you.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, get 30% off all patio furniture, wicker, Berlin Gardens, poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more.
This hour on WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, designers of fine custom jewelry.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today. Some scattered showers, even a few thunderstorms possible with highs right around 80. Partly cloudy, mild again tonight. Lows in the mid-60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, we really screwed up in life.
We did?
Well, I did.
How so?
I mean, it seems to be going well for you.
Oh, it's going swimmingly.
But we missed the gravy train.
Oh.
We should have been members of Congress.
Well, yeah. They're doing okay for themselves. Some of them anyway.
Isn't it amazing how many people, and we've talked about this so many times, how many people go into Congress, normal people, the amount of money they make versus the area in which they live would in no way you would say on that salary you should be enhancing your wealth. And then these people come out millionaires.
Yes.
Many, many times over.
Yes, we've seen it time and time again, how they have the standard salary and then they walk away with millions upon millions of dollars.
And the latest example of this is, now this guy is super rich. He went in super rich. But the latest example of how these people make money. So the rules are written different for members of the Congress. They exempt them themselves. They do things that if you or I did them, because they have knowledge we don't have. They're on these boards, they're on these committees. They get information, and then they're able to trade accordingly. Their stocks, buy and sell, with that information, which is insider information, which is insider trading. If you and I did it, we'd go directly to federal prison.
Right. They get the information first, and then they act on it.
And because these people are complete sleaze buckets, they exempt themselves, and that's how you have people with no applicable skill sets whatsoever who go in regular people. They make whatever they make, $200,000 a year, and then they come out millionaires somehow, living in one of the most expensive regions of the entire country in the process as well. Now, this next guy, he is very rich, which makes this even more egregious that he was doing this because he don't need the money. The money means absolutely zero to him, and that is Jefferson Shreve.
Yeah, he is one of the wealthiest members of Congress. I'm trying to find out, where does he rank?
He's got to be, no, so okay, so I think so Jefferson Shreve made his money owning a variety of businesses. The big one was he owned a storage facilities chain or whatever, and I believe that he sold those at the time. I think Indy Star maybe did an article on this for like $500 million.
His estimated net worth ranges from $500 million to $700 million.
Yeah, I would say that's about right, because he had told me, so Jefferson Shreve, I think most people know this, he's a member of Congress from Indiana. He represents the eastern part of the state in Congress. It was the seat held by Greg E. Pence, also a complete scum bucket. So, I mean, the people over there in that district are just replacing one rotten tomato with with another. You people need to get it together over there. And he had told me when he came in, when he was running for mayor, that was just a portion of his actual wealth, what he had sold those storage facilities for. So I would say that is probably right. So let's aim it on the high side, which is probably actually on the low side. Let's say he's worth $700 million.
Okay.
The guy's worth $700 million, Casey, and he's doing these he's selling and trading these stocks, which have now apparently made him quite a bit of money.
Just a little bit more. So he got his wealth from his storage business that you mentioned, Storage Express, which was a self-storage company that he founded, and he later merged that with Extra Space Storage, which is an S&P 500 company. And that's where the whole conversation with, has this guy ever been to a Wendy's before, began, right. Because when you're worth $700 million, you live differently than other people.
No, he did bring us Wendy's, in fairness. He did, or somebody did, somebody on his staff perhaps. But now he's making these stock trades, and he made over 140 different stock trades between April 7th and April 17th. As the market was crashing around the tariffs.
The trades were worth between $3.4 million and $9.4 million.
So you have a member of Congress, as the economy is collapsing now collapsing is a strong word, as the stock market is going down. Why don't we say that? Because I don't think you could say the economy collapsed based on the fact it went back up, that you have a member of Congress, as the economy is in turmoil and flux, who, keep in mind, the economy has rebounded because a bunch of these tariffs have now been rescinded, is making trades, buying specific stocks in specific companies, and then voila, within a few weeks, or a month or whatever, hey, the tariffs, some of them have been rescinded or eased back, and now the economy has springed right back, and this guy conceivably could have, maybe did make a whole bunch of money off of that, or will in the future.
Some of the traded stocks were in companies under the jurisdiction of a committee that he sits on.
Yeah, and this is the really bad part of this. So this is why, now it'll never happen, because these people, many of them, are there just to enrich themselves, that if you are a member of Congress, if you run for the Congress or the Senate, you should be permanently banned from any sort of investing or trading or whatever while you're in the Congress. And hey, if that stock goes up, whatever you own when you go in there, if it goes up while you're there, great. If it goes down, that's the risk. We have got to get back to where the country was created, which is people went to Washington D.C.
to serve
out of a sense of obligation. They went kicking and screaming because they were productive members of society, and they knew that service was going to financially harm them, but they went out of a deep-seated obligation to better the society around them, and there really were no strings attached to them because they wanted to get out of there as quick as they got in there. Guys like Shreve, and he doesn't even need the money. He doesn't need what? You're worth $700 million. Let's say it's 500, and what, an extra 7, 8, 9 million really gonna make that big of a difference?
He's trying to make the money back that he lost in the mayor's race in Indianapolis.
Because didn't he put something like $20 million to be a complete wimp and totally wuss out on statewide television?
I thought it was like $14 million. Whatever. That's a rounding error.
Maybe between
between
the Congress and the mayor's race, it was $20 million. Doesn't matter. Whatever. The guy, he bought. Give him credit. He is one smart SOB. Because he recognized, I can lie and I can say anything and get away with it. And it doesn't matter if I say that I only want to be the mayor and this is all I'm running for. And then quickly just, some people never change or quickly change and then quickly change right back. And then all of a sudden, well, now I'd like to be a congressman. And what he recognized very wisely, and maybe this was his intent all along, because if money means nothing to you, that I can buy enough name recognition that the way my district is set up, the congressional district, that is in that district, that it will make it basically impossible for anybody else to beat me, and that's basically exactly what he did. So only up.
I wonder if he was buying some of this Apple stock. It looks like perhaps he was. And did he dump any of his pharma stock?
I don't, at this point, it doesn't matter. These people should all be ashamed of themselves. If you voted for Jefferson Shreve, you should be ashamed of yourself. And this is why the country's in the shape it's in. You have people that go to Washington. They go solely for themselves. They go solely to benefit themselves. They don't care about you at all. They're not doing anything on your behalf. And we keep getting this over and over and over and over again.
Hey, did you hear that the IEDC land purchased is been part of it's never been used?
What?
Yeah, there's you remember that real estate deal that happened?
So there's some new, Capital Chronicle has a new update on the Indiana Economic Development Commission and the LEAP District and what they're doing with the land.
Mm-hmm.
And this is super interesting and how much money we're losing in the process.
Let's talk about it coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
President Trump's second stop on a Middle East trip.
Incredible opportunities are within reach.
$1 trillion in economic agreements.
Hear the news.
Chance for severe weather.
We're going to have the ingredients on the table
Thursday and Friday.
As events happen.
The Pacers are headed to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Halliburton from the logo hit a three.
We'll happen to be there.
Over 62% of the tax filers tax increases.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Greetings, Boomtown. Ever since this neighborhood switched to Xfinity Internet,
the Wi-Fi is booming!
Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile with one all-in plan.
So we've all got lightning-fast, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile.
You get the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best in-class equipment and unlimited data included. Plus, add an unlimited mobile line.
All for only $40 a month for 1 year. To celebrate this combo, we're mashing our shows together.
It's everything you need all in one plan. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with a premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay to stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The
biggest party on dirt is back at Eldora Speedway July 16th through 19th for the Kings Royal and High Limit Jokers Jackpot. Buy your tickets today at EldoraSpeedway.com.
Start her engine by racing into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Well. The Leap District is back in the news. And what a surprise, Casey. It's not working out well for the taxpayers.
Well, the interesting thing about this story is it's a reverse. Instead of gobbling up land, they're selling some this time.
So it's the Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So Leap is the Limitless Exploration Advanced Pace Research and Innovation District.
Sure it is.
Which was the brainchild, the dream of Eric. I was going to describe the dream, and then I don't know if I can do that on if it meets the decency standards for public radio, of Eric Holcomb and a bunch of very rich mega corporations and rich business people in Indiana, in which the Indiana Economic Development Corporation in Boone County, which is the city of Lebanon in particular, which is run by Matt Gentry, whose father, Mike Gentry, is one of the most powerful Republicans in the state, in charge of electing Republicans, whose business partner was a guy by the name of Josh Kelly, who is now the chief of staff for Mike Braun. See how this all comes together, right?
Yeah.
Boy, isn't that amazing
I
how that works? They decided that they were all going to work together in cahootskis, and the state was going to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to pay premium price to gobble up farm ground to facilitate real estate transactions for to-be-named mega corporations across the globe. Now, one of those that we know, I guess really the only tenant as of right now, is Eli Lilly, who was a huge beneficiary of this. And the way the state describes it, they says, yeah, look, you people need to calm down. Sure, we're spending gobs and gobs of your money. But it'll all be okay because they're going to pay it back over time.
What's that timetable?
Yeah, well, you don't know, Casey.
Oh.
You don't know. It's to be determined. Now, our friend, the mayor of Lebanon, Mouthy Matt, said Mouthy Matt Gentry said it'll be over 25 to 50 years. We'll all get this. So they've really moved the thing now to where you can never actually criticize the thing because they can always say, just stick with us. It'll happen in 50 years.
Eventually.
It'll be fine.
Eventually we'll get there.
So
seems like they're moving the carrot. 25, 30, 40, 50, whatever.
And again, we've talked about the complete ridiculous nature of this, that we are led to believe that Eli Lilly, with a market cap of various days, depending on the day, somewhere between $700 and $800 billion, can't do basic real estate transactions. That's utterly preposterous. And that has been the beef from the people out in Boone County. They have said, look, if Eli Lilly wants to buy ground out here and they want to build a plant and the county and the city of Lebanon and everybody decides, hey, that's good for us, and they have economic development tools by which they can offer, then okay, we may not like it, but okay. People can buy ground for what they want to buy ground for. People can sell ground what they want to sell ground for. What people are honked off about is that the state came in with a shadow government agency, a quasi-government entity, made special rules, special abatements, special incentives. Oh, and by the way, we're also going to offer extra premium prices for this farm ground to be able to cobble it together for these mega corporations to come in. We don't like that. That's what we're pissed off about, is not that the free market is working the way it's intended to. It's that the government has not just put its thumb, but its entire fist on the project and rigged the system so that this has to happen.
With your money. So the IEDC spent nearly $427 million on about 5,800 acres for LEAP. And the initial plan called for purchasing up to 11,000 acres. But now they have turned around and put a couple of the acres back on the market.
So let me explain how this works. By the way, Indiana Capital Chronicle has the whole expose on this if you'd like to read. So what they had to do, because this needed to be in the city of Lebanon, this is where when Matt Gentry does the me so stupid routine, because he always does this conveniently when he gets pinned down on stuff, the mayor of Lebanon. When he gets pinned down on something that doesn't work well for him, he just goes, well, that's a state issue. Me have no idea. Me know. Me dad just one of the most powerful Republican in state. me no. And I just run this city. I have no idea what's going on. And he does the stupid routine But you realize there's a reason Holcomb and the state wanted this to be in Lebanon. And in order to get this thing into the city of Lebanon, this LEAP district, there had to be what they call contiguity from the area they were buying has to be what they call contiguous, which means essentially it has to touch. It has to touch the area in order to get proper legal annexation. Now, they just change annexation laws all the time, like they did this year, where they allowed Plainfield to annex into Liberty Township, which was totally illegal until they just changed the rules to make it legal because they want a golf course out there. They want the golf course out there to become a mega complex and a mansion community be built out there. So it's all whose line is it anyway, where the game's made up and the rules don't matter. But because they needed this contiguity, they had to buy these properties in order to get a legal annexation to take place. Well, now they've said we've already pulled off the legal annexation, so we don't care and money's no object to us, so we'll sell these properties at a loss because that's all they were good for to begin with.
Yeah, so they said that the parcels, they were initially needed for access and the annexation, but now they're no longer necessary. And one of the properties they bought originally for $840,000, it's now listed for $649,000, so less. And then they've also got part of this other 20-acre purchase that was bought for $2.8 million, and now it is being listed for less.
And this is your money. This is how the state views your money.
You took a loss, taxpayer. Sorry about your luck.
Well, and again, think about the dollars we're talking about being thrown out there. The only tenant right now in this LEAP district is Eli Lilly. You have no idea the actual terms of the Lilly agreement because it's housed under the IEDC. So you never are going to get to the bottom of what is actually happening with Eli Lilly. And if you're actually making money, losing money as a taxpayer, you have no idea. What they wanted, and we talked about this yesterday with Roche and the mass incentive program that the city of Indianapolis and the state is giving to Roche.
With the tax abatements.
They want you to see the number and get wowed at the number. So they want you to see Eli Lilly, $4.6 billion, and you just go, oh, that's awesome. They don't want you to think it through and think, okay, how many of these workers are from this state? The answer will be very few. They don't want you to think through how many workers are even from this country. They don't want you to look at the actual cost that it took to make Lilly's development there possible, which is your money that you are paying. They don't want you to think it through and think, okay, well, yeah, the investment isn't an investment in the state. It's in individuals or a profit complex. They don't want you to think through what the abatement on the building will actually be and how long it'll take for Lilly to pay its full freight. They don't want you to do basic accounting or math, which is figuring out when the investment in Eli Lilly actually turns a profit for you, the taxpayer. They want you to see the same thing is true with Roche. They don't want you to think those things through. They just want you to see the number and get enamored with this international company coming to Indianapolis.
Yeah, so what happened here is that it was overpaid for. This property was overpaid for using your money, taxpayer money. It lacked transparency and also fiscal responsibility. Is this a sign that they're reevaluating things? Well, Gentry says no. No, the project is still a 25 to 50-year plan, and the long-term vision still remains strong.
And look, if you're a guy like Matt Gentry, who clearly doesn't care about the character or the history of the area, which he's shown. I mean, if you are invested in LEAP, if you're invested in the IEDC doing this, and he's a cheerleader for it, then you don't care about that because that's what they're doing. They're gobbling up and destroying beautiful, amazing farmland that has helped feed a nation for generations. That's what they're doing. If you don't care about that and all you care about is your name and headlines and you're willing to totally flip a middle finger at the people in that area who weren't in your city to begin with, then this is a home run win for you because all of that, some of that, he probably knows the terms of these agreements better than anybody, whether he'll say it out loud or not. And by the way, your daddy helped get Mike Braun elected. He could probably just waltz his backside into the governor's office and ask him what the terms of the deal are. That's what always gets me about this, the me so stupid routine. It's a state issue. I don't know. I'm just a mayor of a small city.
No, I don't mean to be morbid here, but think about this. Based on my age and what Matt Gentry has said, that this could take 25 to 50 years, by the time this LEAP district turns a profit, I could be dead.
Oh, by the time this turns a profit, we'll all be dead. I mean, think about the colossal outlay of money I mean, you only have scratched the surface on it when and I know we got to get to a break here with the news, but you've only scratched the surface on this when you talk about the infrastructure and purchase of farmland. There's a whole bunch of other things that tie into this that haven't been reported. Don't know if we'll find them on the audit or not. What I do know is Jarrett, the great Jarrett Lewis, is up with the news coming up next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just
level on the go.
President Trump now visiting Qatar. Cloudy skies and rain moving east at 66 degrees on Monument Circle. 75 the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending now at 9:31. Qatari officials welcoming President Trump to the capital of Doha on the first official presidential trip of his second term. The president stressed the need for peace in the Middle East and across the world.
And we've liked each other and we've worked with each other. And now we can work in the highest capacity. And we'll bring peace not only here, but I know you're very much involved in helping us in other regions, like what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, etc.
Both Republicans and Democrats in Congress have criticized the offer of a $400 million jet by the Qatari royal family, with some characterizing it as a bribe designed to influence U.S. policy. President Trump in recent days appearing to lean towards accepting the gift. The president also claiming that everything is on the table in negotiations regarding Iran's nuclear program. He has threatened to launch airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites if a deal is not reached. U.S. and Iranian officials have met for multiple rounds of talks. A Los Angeles County Superior Court judge is cutting the sentence for the Menendez brothers down to 50 years to life from the original life without parole terms. This means now Eric and Lyle Menendez are eligible for parole. Their fate now lies in the hands of the parole board and the California governor, Gavin Newsom. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is up 66 points, 42,140. The S&P 500 also up just over 13 points, 5,886. As for the NASDAQ, it's also up 64 points, 21,197. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
BJ Nichols and six-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon.
Scott, you know watches and race cars have a lot in common. Both are engineered for precision and built to perform.
Exactly. And when it comes to watches and jewelry, I trust the experts at Reese Nichols to deliver the same excellence I expect from my pit crew.
From race-ready watches to designer jewelry and stunning diamond rings, we've got it all.
And at Reese Nichols, I can count on gifts that will always take the checkered flag.
From start to finish, we've got you covered. Reese Nichols Jewelers, Keystone at the Crossing, Greenwood, and at ReeseNichols.com.
If this is the year to build your custom dream home, Joiner Homes is ready to help make your dream come true. They offer the flexibility to build on your own lot, allowing you to build a home in the place you've always envisioned. A dedicated in-house team of experts will guide you through every step, offering unmatched personalization and flexibility. Joiner Homes provides clear and upfront pricing and floor plans to inspire you. There's no time like the present to get in touch with Joiner Homes to talk about your vision and learn more about their building process. Visit JoinerHomes.com.
Miss M's annual open house is Saturday. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Saturday only. Miss M's on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
At Puccini's, we think less screen time and more quality mealtime is the better way. Eat, talk, and dine with less blue light glaring or talking heads blaring, while enjoying great food at a reasonable price is the Puccini's way. Dine in for hot, delicious food prepared fresh and to your liking. If you need anything, we're right there so you'll leave full and happy. We have delivery options and carryout, but let's start dining in together again the way we all used to enjoy so much.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
Memorial Day is for honoring heroes. In Indy, it's also a day for celebrating the Indy 500. As the excitement of May grows, so do the temperatures outside. Indiana American Water reminds you to start conserving water. Just like a finely tuned race car, your home needs to run efficiently. Fix leaks, use water-efficient appliances, and do lawn watering early in the morning. Make this summer a season of savings and sustainability. Conserve water, save money, and enjoy a greener tomorrow. Happy Memorial Day and enjoy the race. From Indiana American Water.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, Booher, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. Booher, BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So let's do a community service here. Robert, let's try to save the governor, shall we? Against my better judgment. But we did this today. By the way, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. You know him from 30 years in the Indiana Senate. Nobody knows politics and politicians at 200 West Washington better than this guy. Jim Merritt, hello.
Robert.
Okay, so we did this on State House Happenings, and it was just going to be a part of our show, and it ended up being the whole show, which we'll post here after we get off the air here today, and it airs Sunday mornings on the radio station, about what Braun needs to do now, or the people around Braun need to do for him to try to save him, because we pointed out numerous times on this show, every social media post now, it was a Mother's Day post. He went to some small 2A school that was celebrating their women's basketball state championship. It doesn't matter. The comments are just, "We hate you. We hope you die." Basically, were the comments. And I said, this is not good for him. And it's worse than Holcomb. No matter what this guy does, people are just enraged at him, and he can't seem to get past what the rage is. And so I said, well, what can he do? Because he's tried being check hander out guy to this like Monticello and gave them over $1 million, and then he's going to this state championship thing, and that doesn't seem to be going well. And so I said, well, let's explore offer some advice to the governor on what he should be doing, because I don't think it matters right now. What say you?
I'm sure our audience remembers that the term, the era of big government is over. Triangulate from the Clinton days, and reason why I bring that up is when his administration was bludgeoned in a midterm election, he pivoted, and they started talking about school uniforms and little issues that people care about, and he was able to balance budgets, work with Congress, and be a success for the rest of his presidency because he looked into the details. And if I'm Mike Braun, instead of a 100-day speech, I would have had a 250-day looking forward, kind of setting an agenda and having a discipline about message. And that's what my advice, if I was asked, exactly what I would do is I would say, we talked about on State House Happenings, the toll road and be able to toll roads. And we know that
let me stop you before we go into, because that is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here, which is first of all, he's a horrible messenger. He's a horrible public speaker.
That has to change.
Yeah, he may be a good business guy, but he stinks at public speaking. And the messaging from this administration is all over the map. There's no coherent message. And by the way, they need to learn simply saying something doesn't make it true or make it true in people's orbit. And so you're right. This is a great example. So you have this horrible session. We can agree for him it was a horrible. You guys talked about on Abdul's television show last week. a horrible session for him, by and large, right?
Yeah, well, I can't point to too many successes.
Okay, so you have this horrible session where the central things are people are mad about tax increases in the budget. You paid the bills with tax increases and the property tax thing, which people, they're seeing their assessments. They know they're going to keep getting screwed on property taxes. And then you go to this Munster Chamber of Commerce meeting, which this is nothing against the people of Munster. I'm sure they're fine people. But if you're going to break some sort of news, you don't do it at the Munster Chamber of Commerce. And he comes out after this road funding bill is passed, in which everybody's already got their antennas up because tolling has now been given 100% to the governor. The legislature has opted out of their job and obligation, which is to be a check and balance. And Jim Pressel, who wrote that bill, the author of the bill, was like, well, this will be years in the making. Yeah, there's no immediate tolling on the horizon. We're just giving him the ability to be nimble years from now. And he comes out 2 weeks later and says, oh, heck yeah, I'm going for that tolling, and it's coming soon. And people are like, you lied again. Yeah. And so he makes not only himself look bad, but also the legislature.
Well, we want our leaders, number one, to be disciplined, have a good message, identify a problem and a possible solution, and have a broad-based communication through your team, number one. Two, having the legislature, triangulate, have the legislature be a partner in these solutions. And what I would do is I would cut the state up in small regions and go to each region and have a listening tour, and then come back with solutions from problems that everyday Hoosiers have given you. And also, you, like you said, use social media and find ways to post on X and Facebook and TikTok even. I
think Braun
talking
knows
with ordinary people.
I think Braun knows what TikTok is. You think he's ever seen a TikTok?
I don't know, but he needs to do it.
You are right in the sense of he's got such a big mountain to climb now that these little issues in little pockets can make a difference. Is his biggest problem, though, he failed so badly on the big stuff that people are like, I don't care about some stupid check presentation. Normally people are like, oh, what a feel-good moment. The governor is here. But people are so mad about all these other things that until he's willing to deal with the smoke, which is, you're right, if he's willing to stand up and get screamed at in a few meetings about property taxes, okay, now you start to ingratiate yourself to people a little bit, saying, I messed up. But he's not doing any of that. And until he does that, it ain't going to matter.
Well, pick 10 bills in the legislature that are positive, that are
what are they?
That you can find them, and go out throughout the state and have ceremonial signings and really touch the Hoosier at heart. And it's really all about a message. It's all about discipline. It's all about your cabinet, of which are a lot of all-stars, depending on them to
who are these all-stars? Because clearly they didn't do anything that made him look very good.
Well, as governor, you have 3 or 4 people around you that is a kitchen cabinet that can say, talk to the hand, governor, this is bad for you, and you've got to respect that and work with that.
Is one of his problems, because you and I were in this conversation about messaging and media, and I'm amazed at how little they appear to know about how to use the media. And he's got this guy, Josh Kelly, running the show over there. And Josh was a part of a group for years called Market Red. Well, they weren't in the state government. Their job was to elect Republicans. Mike Gentry was his partner. They're, in terms of getting Republicans elected, maybe the most market red, the most powerful firm in the state of Indiana. But they have no actual governing experience that I'm aware of. Great at getting people elected, but no day-to-day intricacies of how the state house works. So Braun gets elected U.S. Senator, takes Josh with him, becomes the head honcho out there in Washington, D.C. No experience again on how the state house works. You bring that guy back, and you're putting him in charge of putting everything together. He doesn't know how this operates. He's not trained in putting all of this together. And I think that's a big reason Braun has failed so spectacularly on so many issues, is the messaging is so bad. There's no attention to detail, unlike, say, a Mitch Daniels, who knew every detail of everything when he walked in places. They've set this guy up for failure because he's got a bunch of... I would be looking at Braun right now and looking at my entire staff going, what am I paying you people for?
Well, yeah, and the whole idea here is for the staff and the cabinet to make the governor look good, and as well as tell him when he's wrong and tell him when he's right. And they
You think he's got that? You think he's got people that'll look at him and go, hey, this is like, do you think in a meeting when Braun gets told something, there's somebody to raise their hand and go, hey, this is a really bad idea? Like, I just go back to the property tax thing, and I'm looking right at him, and they've already declared me the gatekeeper, right? I didn't do that. They did that.
Mm-hmm.
And if the guy who you know you're going to have on your team, and you made it that way, is telling you, don't do this. This is going to be really bad for you. You're not going to, I can't save you. And they do it. What's the strategy with this?
I don't know who is advising him other than the person that you had mentioned. I don't know if there's some SOB on staff that's about as far as I'm going to take it, that said, Governor, this is wrong. You can't do this. And that may be what they're lacking. And somebody that actually knows how the legislature works and how Indiana works. Mitch Daniels really was his own. When he was told this is going to be a negative, he listened to pretty much 100%, and he didn't go that direction because somebody made an argument that this is wrong for you, Governor. This is wrong for the state of Indiana.
Because I come back to when he did that interview with Tony Katz. Of course, he ain't going to do it with me anymore. But when he did that interview with Tony Katz after he signed the property tax bill, and he straight up said, yeah, there's no power in the veto. Well, first of all, then that means you lied for months and months and months. People are going to hate you for that. But to say that out loud, even if you believe it, who is prepping him for these interviews?
Well, that's the interesting part is when you're governor, there are certain steps that you get a bill, you talk to the sponsor, you talk to the author, you have your staff telling everybody in the legislature how you feel about the issue, and then you have that feeling that, well, it was meant this way. I'm going to threaten veto. And then you look at each and every bill, and the legislature has been informed that you're going to veto it as it goes. And regardless if it produces a special session or not, you do veto it. It is checking the box, and it's a powerful message to the legislature, even though it is a relatively majority plus one that is overrides. It's a statement.
Yep, you're right. You can find him on Twitter at Jim_Merritt.
Exactly.
Merritt in the Morning.
Yes.
Fabulous podcast. You're headed to the racetrack with Klopfenstein today.
I am.
Find it on YouTube as well as Facebook. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06 this afternoon. Jeff Boggs fills in for Big Nige, and we'll have a lot of laughs and the biggest stories. 93 WIBC.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call the mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kiandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Hammer and Nigel here for Bill Demery. Look, one day the stock market's up, the next day it's down. If you're in your 20s or 30s, it's not a big deal. But the older you get, it creates uncertainty in retirement. But imagine when you've invested $200,000 or more and received a 20% upfront bonus on your deposit, plus a return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years, and your money backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. To learn more about it, call our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy, 317-648-5800. 888-648-5120. Get an upfront 20% bonus on your deposit, a return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years, and your money backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 61,995, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
This is the epic story that takes a whole month to tell. This is May. The legendary intense action of the month of May continues as PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying and the thrilling drama of the fight for the pole position. The most epic month continues with Indy's most epic party, Labor Light Carb Day. And all roads lead to the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. This is epic. This is legendary. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
The Home and Garden Show is on the road this Saturday. They'll be broadcasting live from 9 to 1 at Miss M's Home and Garden Spring Open House in Bargersville. Enjoy the Pearl Coffee Company, Mallow Run Winery, and Chomp's Food Truck. There'll be door prizes, giveaways, and more.
Casey, bad news.
What's that?
Our state is a bunch of fatties.
And they're riding around with the lieutenant governor sometimes.
I didn't say that. Like, for the record, I didn't say that.
That was what was reported.
I didn't make any fat friend jokes today.
Okay.
So what was this? Let's see. The New York Post had this article that U.S. News has come up with this list of most obese states.
Yeah, they weighed in on America's expanding waistline. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
They weighed in on it.
And where did we crack the top 10, didn't we?
We did crack the top 10. Indiana ranks at number 9 for top 10 most obese states. This is according to U.S. News and World Report.
All right. So who was number 1? West Virginia was number 1.
Yeah, where they have nearly 41% of adults.
Yeah, and then Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Oklahoma, Iowa, Kentucky, us. And then Tennessee's in there as well. Okay, so what is the actual obesity rate? Does it say like what percentage of people are? Oh, there it is. There's the chart. We're between, what are we? Between 35 and 40% of people are obese.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fat people, Casey.
It's a lot of people with a high BMI.
Now, look, I'm not saying everybody's got to look like Fabio. I'm not saying that everybody's got to be a male or female model, but you can either say, well, there's some very odd genetic anomaly in our state, or we got pretty crappy lifestyles that are leading to people being obese.
Yeah, you got some sedentary lifestyles, poor diet, lack of physical activity, and also all of the ultra-processed food consumption that is going on. They make it easy for you to eat.
So like in West Virginia, and all those states we named are over 35%. What's crazy is prior to 2013, according to this article, no state in the U.S. had obesity prevalence at or above 35%.
Yeah, that's now changed. And
that's 12 years.
Yeah, when you look at West Virginia, they're at nearly 41% obesity rate.
Yeah, Arkansas, all of these states, I think, are in the 40, or Mississippi. That is bad, because obesity can cause you a variety of health problems, and just a little basic exercise,
walk in the evening,
right? I mean, a little dietary change, and part of the as a taxpayer, you're paying for this. You're paying for people's health care. You're paying for a lot of these people to live these lifestyles that are increasing the cost of their health care. And you got to do something. You got to Come on, have a little respect for yourself.
Put the fork down, take a walk. Rates have nearly tripled since 1975.
Step away from the buffet table.
Mm-hmm. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Can we talk about Pete Rose?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him coming up on 93 WIBC.
Greetings, Boomtown. Ever since this neighborhood switched to Xfinity Internet,
The Wi-Fi is booming!
Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile with one all-in plan.
So we've all got lightning-fast, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile.
You get the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best in-class equipment and unlimited data included. Plus, add an unlimited mobile line.
All for only $40 a month for 1 year. To celebrate this combo, we're mashing our shows together.
It's everything you need all in one plan. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with a premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed broadband experience report August 2024.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and 1-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Saturday is the Sundown Gardens Spring Open House. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios. When and where we'll see severe weather on Thursday, why a developer is withdrawing their application to build a data center in Hancock County, and what an Indiana congressman is saying about Trump's immigration policy. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
President Trump is in Qatar. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The second stop on his Middle East trip. Well, he'll soon sign some sort of agreement we don't know the details of. He met with the emir a short time ago.
There will
bring peace not only here, but I know you're very much involved in helping us in other regions like what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, etc.
The president, who will go to the United Arab Emirates next, has suggested he could also tomorrow go to Turkey, where Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky wants to have face-to-face ceasefire talks directly with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. As the president also pushes for peace in Gaza, the war rages there. Israeli airstrikes targeted Hamas infrastructure. Palestinian officials say at least 70 people have been killed, many of them children. On Air Force One, on his way to Qatar, the president told reporters again he wants to make a nuclear deal with Iran, but they cannot be allowed to build weapons.
Hopefully they're going to make the right decision, because something's going to happen one way or the other.
He's saying if the U.S. has to take military action, it will not be pleasant. President Trump also focused, while in Saudi Arabia, on another country in the region.
We're currently exploring normalizing relations with Syria's new government, as you know, beginning with my meeting with President Ahmed al-Shara.
They met face-to-face months after the interim Syrian leader led the overthrow of the Assad regime. The president's lifting U.S. sanctions on Syria. After several federal judges blocked President Trump from invoking an 18th century law to deport alleged gang members again, like he did in March, another ruling in his favor.
The Trump administration can utilize the Alien Enemies Act to deport criminal illegal immigrants with affiliation to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, a designated terrorist organization. Trump appointed U.S. District Judge Stephanie Haynes, siding with the administration, contradicting other courts that ruled the administration could not utilize the AEA to remove alleged gang members.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How severe Thursday will be. Cloudy, 66, rain in some spots around Indianapolis. The high today, 76. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Severe storms could bring damaging winds and big hail on Thursday.
I'm Ryan Hedrick, and those aren't the only threats, says Alex McGinnis at the National Weather Service.
So if we get some real big rotating storms, they could drop large hail and could even drop a few tornadoes.
He says everything needed for powerful storms will be in place.
We look at instability, heat and humidity, what we call wind shear, how much the winds change as you go up in the atmosphere, because that can help promote strong or severe storms.
McGinnis says the question forecasters have right now is whether those ingredients will come together at the right time to produce powerful storms. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A large developer says they're withdrawing their proposal to build a big data center in Hancock County. Surge Development LLC had planned to rezone 775 acres of agricultural land for the development project. Congressman Andre Carson says the Trump administration is treating immigrants unfairly.
And the courts have demanded, as many of you know, the Trump administration follow the law. The administration is defying court orders and continuing with illegal actions. But we will not back down.
Carson held a webinar Tuesday to point immigrants toward legal help and says he's co-sponsoring the Neighbors Not Enemies Act in Congress. The Pacers are heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Loose on the near side, scooped up. Siakam grabs it, turns and hits a three right in front of his own bench. Timeout for Cleveland. The Pacers are in front by one.
Mark Boyle on the Elevance Health Radio Network. Final score 114-105. The team at one point trailed by 19 points in the first half. Tyrese Halliburton finished with 31 points.
Something I've learned from my vets and just being in the NBA for enough time is to not take winning for granted. Winning is fun, so we just want to continue to do what we're doing and be ready for whoever's next.
The Pacers will now await the winner of the series between the Celtics and the Knicks. New York leads that series 3-1 with a chance to clinch tonight. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall Casey back in 1 minute.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
All right, Casey, dealer's choice.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Okay.
You have two options to decide how we're going to kick off the hour. Either way, we're going to be talking about a lying scumbag. But you can pick which one we talk about.
I know. I thought about that. And I was like, well, you don't really like either of these guys. So get ready for an angry Rob.
Okay. So behind door number one, lying scumbag number one, we can talk about Pete Rose.
Sure.
Or door number two, lying scumbag number two, we can talk about Mike Braun.
Okay.
Either way, we'll get to both of them. It doesn't matter. You decide where we're going to begin.
Let's begin with the power. And by that, I mean your governor, Mike Braun.
So Braun was at the Capitol Chronicle at a big expose on this. Went to the 2025 Indianapolis Investment Forum.
That sounds like a good time.
And he was talking about the lack of power available in our state. And what is fascinating to me is how they being the lawmakers, Braun, the lawmakers, are, and we have pondered this on air. What have the tangible results of all the supposed investment been in our state? Because all we hear about is all the stuff, the big companies, the data centers, the Lilly, the Roche. We just hear investment. And yet the state's finances are apparently so poor
that we have to raise taxes enough to get $1 billion.
Right. And at the local level, our property taxes have never been higher. So clearly whatever these companies are paying are not paying enough to even keep your property tax bill the same. They keep going up. Water and sewer, municipal utilities get more expensive. Electric bills getting more expensive. What has the point of all of this investment been if it's not paying off for the people there? And this is the question no one will answer for me.
Well, it's definitely changed the landscape of the state. And these are supposed to pay off in the future, Rob.
Yes.
25 to 50 years down the road.
And you've hit the nail on the head with this. And this is what the politicians have figured out is a way that you can never actually hold them accountable because they won't actually give you a time frame or an ROI
Return on
your
investment.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like when I was a local government person, we dramatically reformed the economic development incentive package in the place that I was helping call the shots. And what we said is there are way too many deals getting done in this community where some guy's buddy comes over here and wants economic development. We were going to streamline these. We were going to tighten these. And we had a big old fight over it because the good old boy system didn't like that. But it was made abundantly clear on whatever the economic development deal was at the time of here's what the person's coming in, here's what they're paying, and here's when you, Mr. or Mrs. Taxpayer, are going to see a net profit for your kind investment, usually centering around an abatement of some sort. Now, that could be 5 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. But you knew, and everybody making the choices knew, here's what we're signing up for. In the case of all of these mega developments that are requiring all of this power, we have no idea when it's going to pay off, when it's going to be in the profit, when we're going to be making money, and yet they keep talking about, and Braun was talking about yesterday, the need to attract more and more and more of these complexes, these compounds, these whatever you want to call them, that take more and more electricity, more and more power to allow them to be able to operate. So other than them making money, what are we getting out of it?
You're getting higher taxes is what you're getting. So you're right. Indiana, home to over 50 data centers. and they all take electricity, major gigawatts of electricity. Water availability, also a growing concern. And your governor supports the development of these SMRs to meet the future needs.
Small modular reactors. And this is another example of Braun not telling the truth, which is Braun said he was not going to sign a bill that would increase utility rates. That bill that he signed allows the utilities, which aren't monopolies, you can't shop, you can't go anywhere, to Dr. Frankenstein this stuff, do whatever they want to do with it. And even if it fails, even if the technology fails, you, the ratepayer, are going to pay for these monopolies, which are making huge profits, to be able to have fun and play technology and see if something works or not. So what was interesting in this story, they said utilities based in Indiana currently produce just 20 gigawatts of electricity. And that is like a foreign number. It's a foreign concept to everybody. But here's the thing. A single data center consumes 5% of that capacity.
Right.
So you have essentially, okay, the pie is this big and it's for everybody to share. Everybody, whether you're a homeowner, a small business owner, or whatever, we're all eating out of the same pie. Well, this gargantuan fat guy comes in and is like, I need 5% of the pie. Oh, yeah, and I don't want to pay for it. I want you to pay as much as I'm paying, even though I'm consuming most of the pie. And so these data centers, because they have special abatement rules, they can give them up to 50 years before they pay their full share. So they're basically making out by bandits on the abatement side. They're sucking all of this power, which is causing, because there's only so much power, you got to find new ways to produce power. So you're going to pay the same way they're going to pay to study this power, to pay, to find a way to power these guys. And oh, yeah, these data centers, not that any of them are usually American workers these days, but they don't really produce workers. They're just a thing that sits.
They're a building, right? And there are 30 more. So Indiana already has 50 of them, and there are 30 more that are being proposed. And one of the things that Governor Braun said is that he is encouraging Indiana residents to return home, raise families, and start business in the state. Right?
But that's not what's happening. We've laid out when the Roche and the Lilly and all these, how many HB1 visas. It's simply not happening. The skill set does not exist. The interest does not exist. And with a data center, what job would that be, Mr. Braun?
Yeah.
What job do you think is going on in this data center that these people would be moving back for? These are these oftentimes foreign companies who know we're a bunch of suckers here who get obsessed with bright, shiny objects. The politicians have zero self-control and are totally willing to screw over the taxpayers in order to have these bright, shiny ribbon-cutting events.
He said he's going to measure some of the success of the state by retaining and bringing back talent to Indiana. Where are they going to live?
Well,
and how are they going to pay for that?
But you mentioned something in this that's very interesting, that Braun appears to be no different than Holcomb in terms of economic development gains. So this is the governor says he will largely judge his administration's achievements by its economic development gains, which that means for you, which we saw this happen in the property tax. He doesn't give a damn about you. It's how much stuff can I bring in? It's stuff. It's not protecting the quality of what we have or the tradition. It's not ensuring that your life is better, not ensuring that your taxes are lower, not ensuring that you can afford to live. It's how much stuff. He's Holcomb. It's the same. It's the photo, right? It's the same guy. It's the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. There is no difference, and he's laying it out for you. When they tell you what they are, you should absolutely believe them.
So he did post more pictures, more photo ops. Congrats to the South Knox High School women's basketball team on their 25 Class 2A state championship. Definitely congratulations to them. But now the governor is being relegated to passing out big checks and posing for pictures. And still, all of the comments remain the same. You are a liar. You campaigned on property tax reform. You did the complete opposite. Now you're saying that this is a historic property tax relief. Are you that delusional or just that stupid? It's one of the comments made.
Yeah, I don't. And like, where does all the money go? This is the question that I keep asking. Is where does all of this money go that we're spending? What is it doing? How is it making people's lives better. Because everything we do, like, okay, there's no money for roads. We got to raise taxes.
Well, you got to create tolls.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Then why did we do that, spend all that money, hundreds and hundreds of millions, billions of dollars on the completion of 69? What average person, does the average person use the roads in their community more often or 69 across the state?
Yeah. That would be a question for INDOT. I'm going to guess their roads near their home.
In their community.
Yeah.
Who was the beneficiary of 69 being completed across the state? How often are people like, I'm going to go to Evansville? This is the average person, never. It's the businesses. It's the truckers. You subsidized. Your gas tax went up. Your tolls have increased. Your wheel taxes have gone up. All of these things have been raised so that these businesses, the money was taken from you and used to subsidize these businesses. And I will ask
logistics for business.
I will ask the question again. Where did all the money go? And if it's not, if the projects, if the investment, if the economic development, or whatever you want to call it, crony capitalism, is not producing a better quality of life in terms of what it costs you to live, then why are we doing any of it? Why are we doing any of it? I don't know. All right, so that was Scumbag 1. We're going to take a break, and then we'll talk about Scumbag 2, Pete Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose. It's 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
As long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The most extraordinary thing a woman can do is let herself be human. We try to do it all, sure, but what if we're just not feeling it? Like when the fatigue hits, but you gotta bring snacks to the soccer game? Or when the laundry's piling up, but that hot flash says, too bad. We get it. Franciscan Health has care for extraordinary women who can do it all, but don't have to. Visit franciscanhealth.org/OBGYN today.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indie Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of our best stamped concrete patio. Hurry, offer ends June 30th. Go to IndieDecorativeConcrete.com.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see their large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and Napoleon, along with the Big Green Egg.
Okay, we'll get to Pete Rose in just a second, but I ran some numbers during the break.
Yeah.
And it's Kendall Casey show, by the way. I'm Rob, that's Casey. And we were talking about what is the point of all of these crony capitalism, economic development endeavors in our state when clearly nothing is getting less expensive. These things appear to be causing life, society, whatever, for all of us to get more expensive. And so I ran the numbers. In 2013,
Yeah.
the Indiana state, the biennial budget for the state, because we do 2-year budgets in the state of Indiana. So the lawmakers, they don't want to have to work. So they do 2-year budgets.
Sure.
Was $30 billion.
Okay.
And I said, okay, our budget now is $44 billion.
Right.
So I thought, well, I wonder what 30 billion would calculate, because you always hear, well, inflation.
Sure.
So I ran the inflation calculator, and 30 billion in 2013 is worth 41.31 billion today.
Okay. So that's still an increase, though.
I mean, by the way, that's massive that in 12 years inflation is roughly 38%. I'm not blaming the state of Indiana for that. I'm saying that is a pox on every federal lawmaker, president, Congress member who has existed during that time. Shame on all of you. But that still leaves $2.5 billion difference that you can't count for inflation. Where is that money gone? Because keep in mind, during this time, our state has gotten in the business of getting out of providing services and forcing locals to do them and raise taxes. So your local taxes are infinitely higher than what the state has, because they have forced those services on. So the state is, think about this business plan, Casey, right? So they've gotten more money, but they're providing less service, and they're claiming they can't do without more money.
Right, they need more.
And the things they're attracting or investing in clearly aren't producing a positive result for the consumer. Can you think of any business that would stay in business with that as their template, right? No, of course not. So the question is, if we have all of these data centers and these warehouses and all of these things that are investing all of this money, how have the property taxes never been higher? Why are they having to do the wheel taxes and the local income taxes? Those have never been higher. And yet the state is operating, when you take out inflation, with an extra $2.5 billion for their biennial budget, but yet they're claiming they can't make do without raising taxes by $1 billion.
Sure. So where does the money go? What is costing so much?
Yeah. So anyway, something to ponder.
Is it social programs?
Well, I mean,
debt interest? Profit taking?
Clearly. Yeah, I mean, the answer is they've expanded the government. They've expanded the legalized vote buying apparatus, and the state is poorly run. Think about in the closing moments of the legislative session when these Mensa members, despite any person with an IQ of 9 or above going, hey, economy's little unstable right now, you ought probably not plan a budget with $2.5 billion in spending increases. And they said, there, peasants, shut up and sit down. And then the last week of the session, oh my gosh, the revenue forecast is bad. Who could have seen that coming?
We had no idea.
And then they have to cut $2 billion from the budget, or they have to come up with, they have to come up with $2 billion. And like that, they cut $1 billion.
Right.
So they're admitting to you, because they raised taxes by basically $1 billion. They cut $1 billion. They were admitting to you with a straight face, we're so bloated in this government. We're so inefficient.
We can cut $1 billion.
And you don't even know it's missing.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, remember when Braun sat on here with Hammer and Nigel and was like, well, maybe there won't even be the budget cuts, because if the economy's better, we won't need to do any of this. Are they going to give the tax increases back?
No.
Of course not.
Right.
No. So anyway, that's what I do during the break, because my mind is ever
some
moving,
numbers,
and
just some light numbers.
Just proving a point.
Just
anyway,
little numbers.
That's why we're number one.
So the commissioner of the MLB, Rob Manfred, he ruled that the MLB bans end upon a person's death.
So this is, while it will affect other people, this is targeted primarily at Pete Rose. The other mega name will be Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
Most of you will know Shoeless Joe Jackson was a member of the Black Sox scandal. He was made very famous in both the movie 8 Men Out as well as Field of Dreams. This is ridiculous, because so Joe Jackson has been dead. He died in 1951, 73 or 74 years now. And now the commissioner just comes out and goes, well, when you die, the ban is lifted. Well, then Joe Jackson's got about 70 years of IOUs going on here.
Yeah.
Because Joe Jackson, statistically, was 100 times the player Pete Rose could have ever dreamed of being. And if he'd have been allowed to stay in baseball for his entire career, would have had incredible numbers. He was a .356 lifetime hitter. He was an amazing baseball player. And yet now the commissioner, because of pressure from people like the president are like,
right?
Yeah, the ban just ends when you die. I've changed my mind.
And he can do that, huh?
Look, the baseball has ruined itself. We've talked about this with these stupid rule changes. They just make it up as they go along. Here's what I know about Pete Rose. And I know there are people who grew up watching the Big Red Machine, and they will overlook any sort of behavior. But this is what we do, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
We force you to look in the mirror. So if you're a Pete Rose fan, I am holding your head up from behind, and I am holding those eyelids open, and I am forcing you to look in the mirror. Here's what we know about Pete Rose. Pete Rose did the one thing that he knew he could not do and be a part of baseball.
Right.
Everybody, from the moment they grow up, knows you cannot bet on baseball. Now, Pete Rose was caught because he was horrible at it, and he had such an addiction to it that he was easily snuffed out that he was doing the one thing he knew he couldn't do. Then, despite a mountain of evidence to the contrary, he not only spent the next really 20 plus years denying that he did the thing, which there were full investigations, mountains of evidence, eyewitness testimony, physical evidence. He not only spent the years following that lying about what he did, but he and his goon buddies attempted to smear and belittle and try to get people fired. Any person, see Jim Gray when he interviewed him at the All-Star game, who had the audacity to say, you did this, dude. You brought a stain to the game. You brought a stain to yourself. Are you finally ready just to admit the obvious? And he denied and denied and denied and only told the truth. By the way, he went to federal prison in the process of all of this, too. So it wasn't just some rogue commissioner out to get him. The federal government looked at him and said, you're a complete pile of crap. And then he only told the truth
when he was trying to make some money off
That's
of it.
right. When he wanted to sell a book. And it was a big joke to him. And all he did, the entire remainder of his days, was capitalize on what he did. So if that's your guy, if that's your boy, if that's who you want to hold up as some sort of thing that you think your kids and grandkids should try to emulate, then go right on ahead. Right on and let him in the Hall of Fame, but it ain't going to happen here.
So it is definitely a landmark shift on how they treat the posthumous discipline. Okay, but Pete Rose has often lamented that being inducted after his death would be pointless. And he has even said before he passed away, what good is a Hall of Fame induction if I'm 10 feet under? First of all, 10 feet under isn't normally 6, but whatever. So in his own words, it wouldn't have mattered to him. So why induct him now?
Well, I hope they don't. They clearly will. But our society has to have lines in the dirt, right? So like we are about to hopefully execute some scumbag who killed a police officer. And he can come now, and I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, and claim that he has found the Lord and everything else. And by the way, Capitol Chronicle and other outlets have had great coverage of
his seeking clemency.
Right, both the families that testified and then him testifying. It's very interesting. But there's a reason we have the death penalty, to prevent people from doing stuff. And nobody forced him to kill that police officer. Nobody forced him to do it. He did it all of his own volition. He can, whatever horrible excuses he wants now, I was abused as a kid.
Fetal alcohol syndrome,
well, and
whatever it was.
One of the people got up at the hearing the other day and said, it was a teacher, and said, I've had lots of kids who had the same upbringing this guy did. They didn't kill cops. If you kill a police officer, you're probably going to get the death penalty to deter
other people
from doing it. And the integrity of the game is centered around everything being done on the up and up. And if you have so little self-control and the game meant so little to you that the one thing you do, by the way, you can be a racist, you can all sorts of other things, but you can't do this thing.
Yeah.
And you do this thing.
It was the sport's most serious offense.
And it's the same thing with the steroid guys, right? You know the thing, and if you have so little self-control or you care so little about the game or the profession or whatever you're involved in that you won't do the thing or you can't not do the thing, then you don't ever deserve to be involved in the thing ever again. So screw him and the rest of these people, and they should never be allowed in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Making deals in Qatar. It's cloudy, 67 degrees on Monument Circle. The high today, 76. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:31. President Trump is in the Middle East for his first trip abroad in his second term in office. The president says he is trying to improve relations with leaders in the region.
President Trump arrived here in the state of Qatar after receiving a fighter escort from Qatari F-15s. Remember when Air Force One was on approach in Riyadh, he also received a fighter escort from the Saudis, the Qataris not being outdone. Now, before leaving Riyadh, he mentioned the big news, President Trump meeting with Syria's new president. He also met with Persian Gulf allies.
We are currently exploring normalizing relations with Syria's new government, as you know.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reporting the president has drawn criticism after signaling he would accept a $400 million Boeing jet as a gift from the Qatari royal family. U.S. and Iranian officials have met for several rounds of talks regarding Iran's nuclear program. Senate Intelligence Committee Chair Tom Cotton tells Fox and Friends that the president is pushing for a deal to end Tehran's nuclear program.
He's willing to give Iran a chance to change its behavior, but I also know that he's not willing to let Iran tap him along. As he said, this is coming to a head. There's going to be decisions made in the weeks ahead.
The president has threatened to launch airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites if a deal is not reached. And the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs continues today in New York. Singer Cassie Ventura testified Tuesday, saying she suffered black eyes and bruises during their decade-long relationship. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Taxes 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. And right now, what a time. If you've been thinking about upgrading the windows in your home, this is the time to do it with their home improvement season sale, where you can get, yes, that's right, 50% off your windows. Half off. Then on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. Let me repeat that again. 50% off your windows, half off, and no interest and no payments for 12 months. But on top of that, you'll get a free entry door with your window purchase. So half off, no interest, no payments for 12 months, and a free entry door with your window purchase. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the information and most importantly, schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation estimate at your house. Call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Race into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel and make a pit stop to purchase that unique diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Casey, I'm going to share an email that I received.
Yeah.
About the Secretary of State, Diego Morales.
It's in regards to his trip to India, isn't it?
That's correct. It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. We will reset this. Most of you are fully aware at this point. But we always have new listeners coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Secretary of State who is a clown of a human being and shouldn't be in charge of anything, much less a position the level of Secretary of State where he oversees everything from elections to auto dealerships. And he's an unserious person, a complete and utter grifter who is totally in business for himself at your expense. And one of the litany of things that he has done, if you were presenting guilty of grifting, if we laid the case out in a court of law, there's not a jury in the world who wouldn't convict this guy of being guilty of grifting, right?
You know, it's interesting you say grifting because if you Google him, the first picture that shows up is a picture with him and Mike Pence.
Yeah, well, I mean, the paperwork shows that Diego worked for and was fired by Todd Rokita as Secretary of State. You notice Rokita's never explained that?
Yeah.
Diego's never explained that. There's actual paperwork that shows he was fired, and they never want to address that.
But now Todd Rokita is endorsing him both vocally and financially.
That's correct, yes, because pay no attention that I thought you were a complete boob and couldn't even do the most basic of tasks when you worked in this office.
That I fired you.
And then, of course, he somehow, and this is what I can't figure out, he weaseled his way back into that office when Charlie White became Secretary of State. And, of course, Charlie had a little issue with the legal system and had to go away. And the paperwork showed Diego was about to get fired from that office again before Charlie had to skedoodle on out the door for various reasons. And now he is the Secretary of State. He was elected because the people hated Eric Holcomb, convention delegates, and they punished Eric Holcomb by electing a buffoon over his choice, Holly Sullivan. But the thing that has really drawn everybody's attention most recent iteration of
this time
grifty-like behavior from Diego Morales is this trip to India in which he claimed he went on an economic development mission, which raised eyebrows because he has no economic development responsibility as Secretary of State. He cannot cut deals. He cannot sign off on things. He cannot not offer incentives, nothing. And so he goes to India. We know he went with a guy named Raju Shinthala, who has a large contract with his office. And Raju, we know, was bragging on Facebook about the same time he was over there with Diego, being in India selling EB5 visa access. Or, I'm sorry, is it EB5, HB5? Forget what it is. Anyway, visa access. And we also know, according to IndyStar, Diego was meeting with the mayor of the city that Raju claimed he was in selling the visa.
Hyderabad.
Yes, thank you. And so we know all of these things. So the logical question became, well, Mr. Secretary of State, who paid for you to go to India? Because he was very adamant because he disappeared. Nobody knew where he was. And that's totally normal behavior too, right? You're the Secretary of State. You just disappear for 2 days.
Blow off your budget hearing and go.
Speaking engagements that he was supposed to be at, he was advertised for, all sorts of things. And so then finally he came out and said, well, no, you guys are missing the button. No state money was used for this trip. Private money was used. And the natural question was, who?
Yeah, right.
Who's private money?
Whose private money?
And he said,
who paid for you?
In the most polite way possible, and his staff was very nice in the way they told us. They told us, and I've told others, kiss firmly with both of your lips, both of our butt cheeks, and we're not giving you any of this information. So let's review. The Secretary of State with no economic development responsibility disappears to a foreign country for 10 days. He's there with the guy that's bragging he's selling visa access. And then tells you have no right to know who paid for me to go to India.
Correct.
Okay, very good. So a bunch of people have been trying to look into this, and there do appear that the public is starting to ask more questions about this. And somebody who has been asking questions is our old pal, Danny Niederberger. Now, Danny tried to run for Senate last 2 years ago, or whatever, 3 years ago now, against Todd Young in the Republican primary. We talked about how he believed he had the signatures to get on the ballot. However, they would not
accept them.
There was a snow day at one of the county clerk offices, and they said, well, no one's here to hand you your signatures so you can turn them in. He went to the state and said, the signatures are right behind that glass right there. Nobody will let me in to get them. They said, well, too bad. You can't run for the U.S. Senate. So Danny has been very involved. He's a very honest person. I have no reason to doubt that. And he said I could share this email and its content, so he's putting his name behind it. And he said that a liberty-minded group was trying to grill Diego on a variety of issues. And one of the things that they were trying to pin him down on was who paid for your trip to India. Now, this is new. I'd not heard this before. Diego is now claiming that he and his wife paid for a portion of the trip. Now, that had not been, because we asked, right? We asked the office, and at no point did they say, Diego, that I recall, I mean, you remember the email response that we got. At any point did they say, well, Diego and his wife paid for part of the trip?
They paid for part of it. Part of it was paid by sponsors.
Right.
No, they said
sponsors.
Sponsors paid for
or
it.
Whatever word they used. All right.
And we're not telling you who.
Right. So then he goes on to say, and this is, I'm going to read you directly from the email I got from Danny Niederberger. He said he doesn't expect anyone to disclose how much of their own money they spend. As a general practice, he lets other businesses/organizations decide if they want to be known. When businesses get involved with conservatives, they tend to be targeted. Take Tesla as an example. So I don't know if Diego was comparing himself to Tesla or Danny's trying to say that's what he's saying. They were generous enough to help provide resources for some of these trips with no direct benefit. He said he would hate to see a negative effect on their business/organization because of it. So we're led to believe that some private, undisclosed group has so much money laying around that they said, here, Mr. Secretary of State,
take what you need.
Let us fund your trip to India.
And we want nothing in return.
Get the F out of here. You gotta be kidding me.
The goodness of our heart.
That's
of course we want to help you go to India for 10 days.
And he's worried that in a super red Republican state with Republican supermajorities, that there would be some sort of mass boycott of these organizations or groups or people or whatever if people found out that they were supporting a Republican.
Well, they may be onto something just a little bit. They may receive some backlash if it's known that they're associating with Diego Morales.
This guy is gross beyond belief. He is deliberately not telling you who funded his trip to India. And it ain't because he's worried about this group or these people getting backlash. And you don't get to not say, I'm not telling you, when you go in your official capacity.
He went as the Secretary of State of the state of Indiana.
He
wasn't private citizen Diego Morales.
That's right. He wasn't touring the greater Indian area for fun. He was presenting himself and was presented
as a representative of the state.
Right. That's absolutely correct. So you don't get to say, when you're doing things on state time, when you're acting in your state capacity, when you're leveraging your position, because let's face it, by the admission of the people, he was there because he was the Secretary of State. It wasn't like, let's have Diego come because he's such an articulate, amazing, magnanimous individual.
Right.
No, he was there because of his official capacity, which we bestow upon him as voters and fund as taxpayers.
That's right.
You don't get to be like, I'm not telling you who it is. So he can keep hiding this, which apparently he is. And nothing says I'm totally guilty of something like refusing to answer basic questions. I don't have to agree with it. I think he can do it. Just say, here's who it was. Here's what they paid. If you don't like it, you can vote against me in the next election.
I mean, think about this. This company wanted to donate this money to him to visit India, right? Why did they pick him? What's the name of the lady who watches your daughter?
May.
Do you think that they want to fund May a 10-day trip to India?
May would love that.
Do they want to fund Steven, our producer today, 10 days to go to India?
Yeah.
No, they're funding Diego Morales because he's the Secretary of State.
Hammer's next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, Tulsi Gabbard is going after the deep state, and don't you dare buy Jake Tapper's book. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
I'm a proud owner of B-Window.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B-Window, quality comes first, because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
It's the Bash Sale, the biggest automotive sale in history. Your local Bill Estes dealerships are coming in hot with deals on trucks you don't want to miss. We have a huge selection of trucks at one easy online stop. Brand new Chevy, Ford, GMC, Jeep, Ram, and Toyota trucks with a massive pre-owned selection too. Plus, our fair and direct upfront pricing means what you see is what you pay. Shift into savings during the Bash Sale, only at Bill Estes dealerships, and drive away in your dream truck today. Online at BillEstesTrucks.com.
Well, Trina, now you're in charge of ordering food for the office, so meet my mountain of menus.
So, this should be easy.
Easy as pie. You know the mathematical constant for a circle circumference to diameter ratio, pi? It's super complicated.
In that case, I'll be using EasyCater. It's got everything on one simple platform. Tons of restaurants, dietary preferences, even digital receipts.
But my mountain of menus.
How about I order us some pie?
EasyCater, the easy way to get food for work.
The biggest party on dirt is back at Eldora Speedway, July 16th through 19th for the Kings Royal and High Limit Jokers Jackpot. Buy your tickets today at EldoraSpeedway.com.
The news everyone's talking about, you'll find it at WIBC.com. The latest from City Hall, the White House, or the State House. Updated all day. Don't miss what matters. Stay in the know while you're on the go at WIBC and WIBC.com.
Wait, where are the Colts playing their football game this year?
They're going to host the Atlanta Falcons on November 9th at Berlin's Olympic Stadium.
Okay, wait. So the NFL, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob, that's Casey. Hammer will be with us here hopefully in just a moment. He's weaving around potholes and downtown traffic.
Good luck.
Things are going very well in the city. So that stadium, correct me if I'm wrong. So the Colts are playing the Falcons in Berlin.
Correct.
The NFL has tried to expand its global footprint. They've been in England, playing games in England for many years. They've been playing in Mexico for many years, and now they're branching out into other European countries, trying to globalize the sport.
Right. So it's not the first time that the Colts have played internationally. In 2016, they played the Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. And then in 2023, they played the Patriots in Frankfurt, Germany. So they're not even the first time they've been in Germany.
Okay, but this is at the Berlin Stadium, right?
It's called Olympic Stadium, right? But it is from the 1936 Olympic Games.
Now, that stadium, correct me if I'm wrong, was constructed because the Germans, the Nazis, got the Olympic Games in 1936. This is the famous Olympics where Jesse Owens, as a black man, beat the pants off of these Hitler youth that they had out there running for the Nazis.
Correct.
And they were supposed to be these unbeatable guys, and a black guy went over there in front of Adolf Hitler and all his Nazi goon friends.
Showed him who's boss.
And showed him who's boss.
Yep.
So where are we at on a stadium that was basically, because anybody who knows history knows this was Hitler's, one of the things Hitler was great at was presenting to the rest of the world, until it became obvious, right? He's not that bad. Okay, he's a little quirky. He's got some extremist views, but he's a guy you can work with. He's not really all that bad. And one of the things that the 1936 games were about was showing off to the world how productive German society has become under Hitler, even though we went through all these horrible financial strangulations after losing World War I. Look at how Germany has bounced back. Look at this incredible, they really opened up society. Many of the way the Jews were treated during that period had changed because they wanted people to come to that country and they wanted people to go, this dude, we've been there. We've seen it. Yeah, he's got some stuff, but he's not actually that bad. And that's what the 1936 Olympic Games were about, was Hitler to be able to show off to the world, look at us.
Propaganda.
Yeah, totally. And that was all the Nazis were about all the time.
Yeah.
In the middle of our Nazi conversation, Jason Hammers walked in. Hello. How's it going? We were talking about the Colts playing in Germany. And I said, wait a second. Isn't there something, the fact that this stadium still stands, even though it was built as sort of a flex of white dominance and Nazi superiority to the rest of the world? Isn't that a little weird that 90 years later we're still playing ball? And
it's been used for a lot of things.
I know, but I'm saying, isn't that one of the things we should have probably taken down when we defeated the Nazis, was the stadium that, while it didn't work, was supposed to show off and be a flex of white superiority?
The one thing that's interesting about this game is it's going to be played on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. So there is some symbolism there that they're continuing on with activities at this stadium.
I hate the 9:30 kickoff if it's the team that I'm interested in. Like, I like waking up and watching other teams at 9:30 in the morning because, the gambling starts early. You can start, watching the games, the fantasy football ramifications. The action starts early, and it takes you into the first window of games. But when it's your team...
Yeah, it stinks.
It stinks.
Because if you lose, you got the whole day to sit on it.
Right.
You got the whole day to sit on the
100%
loss,
right.
yeah.
And let's be honest, it sucks sometimes getting up that early on a Sunday. Now, a lot of people get up and go to church.
Yes.
A lot of people get up and make breakfast. I get all that. But you kind of want to build up the momentum for your team's game, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I've been to church. I've been to breakfast. It's Colts time. It's Bears time, whatever you're into.
Yeah.
But, man, you get up in the morning and then, like, I remember when they played the Jags overseas a number of years ago. And, like, by the time I remember the game was on, the Colts were down like 20 points already to the Jags.
Somebody who was not down, well, they were down, and then they came back, was the Pacers last night. And at that 125-1 bet for the Pacers to win it all.
8 wins away.
8 wins away, baby. How about Pacers and Racers? We're back. Yes, sir.
Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. No matter what happens in this Knicks-Celtics series, will be the Indy 500 Sunday.
I love that.
The first home game will be Indy 500 Sunday here
Big
in
day.
Indy.
And
Big day.
And the entire law enforcement community is like, just shoot me.
And this is what's going to be great the next 2 weeks. You're going to see all the people who have just crapped over law enforcement act like they're the biggest champions of the city, right? You're going to see Boss Hogsett, and you're going to see the city council and Ryan Mears all out there, all of a sudden become big Pacer fans and big race fans, right?
What's coming up this afternoon?
Jeff Boggs is in for Big Nige. We'll connect with Tony Kennett. We'll talk a little more Pacers and Racers and keep an eye on some severe weather we could see tomorrow. Hearing tornado activity could be in play tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
You were blessed to have a home large enough to raise a family. But now the kids have been on their own for a while, and the house seems a little different. All those rooms are a bit too much to manage. Simple just seems better. Simple Quarters is a company that understands, and they can help you trade in your house for one that's a better fit for this point in your life. A lot of folks don't realize you can trade in your house like you can trade in your car. Simple Quarters will buy your house and help you transition into a new one all at the same time. No double mortgages or months of showing and stress. They streamline the process. Or they'll simply buy your house as is, and you can take the next steps on your own. Simple Quarters is a Christian company committed to making your real estate transitions easier. If you're considering downsizing, Simple Quarters offers both as-is home purchases and a convenient home trade-in option. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
During much of Indiana's history, communicating on the telephone with the deaf or hard of hearing was nearly impossible. Friends and loved ones couldn't stay in touch, so the hard of hearing became isolated. Today, those with hearing loss have equal access with the captioned telephone from Relay Indiana and can keep their independence. Relay Indiana allows a caller to read what the other party is saying. This advanced technology keeps Hoosiers connected so that everyone can contribute to Indiana's productive future. Learn more at relayindiana.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Saturday is the Sundown Gardens Spring Open House. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, get 30% off all patio furniture, wicker, Berlin Gardens, poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, rain, strong winds, possible tornadoes in the forecast for Thursday. Another tornado gets added to the list to hit Indiana this year. Why an Indiana congressman is backing the GOP tax bill. The Pacers are closer to the NBA Finals, and cars are set to be back on track at IMS this afternoon. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
The U.S. and Qatar relationship is going to another level. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the emir of that country just said, meeting with President Trump, signing agreements, including a big Qatar Airways order of American planes.
It's the largest order of jets in the history of Boeing. That's pretty good.
On a Middle East trip, the president says is bringing in more than $1 trillion in investments in the U.S. The president also again said he's pushing for a nuclear deal with Iran.
It's been really an interesting situation. I have a feeling it's going to work out. I think it's going to work. It's got to work out one way or the other. We know it's going to work out.
Earlier on Air Force One, the president warned the U.S. might have to take action to prevent Iran from building a nuclear weapon. The president also made news in Saudi Arabia, the first stop on his trip.
President Trump meeting with Syria's new president. He also met with Persian Gulf allies.
We are currently exploring normalizing relations with Syria's new government, as you know, beginning with my meeting with President Ahmed al-Shara.
Trump received a standing ovation from the Saudi crown prince in a room full of dignitaries when Trump said he's removing sanctions on Syria.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. The president will go next to the United Arab Emirates. He's also suggested he might travel to Turkey to potentially join the face-to-face direct ceasefire talks Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is pushing for with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. As House Republicans keep working on what the president calls one big, beautiful budget bill, a big part of it's been approved by a committee.
The bill would extend the Trump tax cuts of 2017, provide tax deductions on tips and overtime, and reduces certain green energy tax credits. Democrats argue the legislation is a tax break for the wealthy. Some New York Republicans are asking for additional increases in the state and local tax deduction in order for them to support final passage.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz at the Capitol. Republicans also plan to cut what they say is waste, fraud, and abuse out of Medicaid. Democrats say they're going to take away health care and food assistance to some Americans in need. America's listening to Fox News.
WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Severe storms and high temperatures. It's cloudy, 67 degrees. Rain in some spots, 76 will be the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Forecasters call it a conditional threat as storms could turn severe Thursday and Friday. Ryan Hedrick reports.
With storms tracking from sort of the west to the east through that time period if they do occur.
Forecaster Alex McGinnis at the National Weather Service Indianapolis says severe storms could develop Thursday afternoon and continue into the evening and overnight hours.
Friday, a little less confidence on timing. It could be anytime during the day Friday, but particularly Friday afternoon and Friday evening when we might see some heavier rains with some embedded storms moving across the area.
McGinnis says Thursday's storms could produce tornadoes. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC. Mobile News.
There have now been 47 tornadoes confirmed to have touched down in the state of Indiana so far this year. A landspout tornado was reported Tuesday evening in Randolph County near Winchester. Thankfully, it caused no damage and was rated an EFU, or unknown, by the National Weather Service. A developer says they're pulling their proposal to build a large data center in Hancock County. Surge Development LLC had planned to rezone over 750 acres of farmland for that development project. Indiana Representative Jim Bard is backing a GOP plan to extend tax cuts and cut SNAP.
I'm excited that we are getting the federal spending back on track and root out the waste, fraud, and abuse that has skyrocketed over the past 4 years.
House Republicans have asked the Agricultural Committee, which Bard is a part of, to find at least $230 billion in savings. And the Indiana Pacers are advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals after taking 4 games out of the 5 against the Cavs. Last night's final, 114-105. Indiana will get the series winner of Boston and New York. The Knicks hold a 3-1 series lead and can advance with a victory tonight, that game being played in Boston. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, good morning from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Brendan King with your 93 WIBC track update. It's brought to you by B&W Plumbing, HVAC, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer. Well, from 16th and Georgetown right now, rain continues to fall. However, as opposed to an hour ago when we got here, it is much lighter. So the hope is the track can dry and cars can get out there. As for Tony Kanaan, however, His veteran refresher was supposed to be yesterday at 10 a.m. That got rained out, and now rinse and repeat once again. It is now scheduled for tomorrow morning at 10 after it was supposed to be today. Tony Kanaan will get inside that Arrow McLaren racing machine, which is, of course, occupied by Kyle Larson. Kanaan can only get in that car on race day if Larson has to fly to Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. Once the track is dry, practice will run until 6 p.m. We'll keep you posted from the track. I'm Brendan King, 93 WIBC.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
This hour on WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, designers of fine custom jewelry.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
All right. We got to talk about etiquette here in a second.
Okay.
Because I went to lunch with Micah yesterday, and then the internet blows up, and there's a blah, 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 blah.
Were you seen out in public together?
Well, so we got to talk about that. But first, we do have to do a housekeeping measure for you.
Yeah.
Because today is Wednesday.
Correct.
Tomorrow is Thursday. And tomorrow, that means that is the start of the PGA Championship.
Oh.
So just so you know, by the way, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. If you're new to the program, look, I have to be told to take days off. I'm never not here.
Correct.
But when Casey started, as it was with Mock before her, it was made abundantly clear there are 4 weeks out of the year where I'm going to operate at about 25% capacity. Now, that's much better than most people at 100%. So you're not going to want to take me out of the equation. And,
True.
Like, I mean, you're bringing Ethan in at 100% or me at 25. What are we doing here? So, but the PGA, the 4 majors, there are 4 major golf tournaments. There's the Masters, the PGA, the U.S. Open, and the British Open.
Yeah.
April, May, June, July. So 1 week out of each of those months, I will be here in spirit.
Okay.
I will be here in the physical.
You'll be distracted?
I will be somewhat distracted.
Are you going to stream it? Or
Well,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What time does it start?
It really depends on when my guys tee off. I haven't even checked it. I haven't even finally cast my final bets yet. I think I'm zoned in on who I'm going to take, but it really will depend on, like, if my guys, if you remember during the Masters, all my dudes teed off in the afternoon, so I was super engaged.
Right.
But if they was
Who
morning,
are your guys for this tournament?
well, I don't know.
Have you even selected your guys?
I think so. I think I know. I think the committee has really narrowed it down. It's a colossal field.
Committee
so
of 1.
I take 4 guys. There's about 160 player field. I take 4 guys, and then I think we're gonna go with Justin Thomas.
Okay.
I don't pick the tippy top guys most of the time because that's kind of boring. Justin Thomas. I think we're gonna go with Hideki Matsuyama. I think we're going to go with Colin Morikawa. I think we're going to go with Jordan Spieth. I think those are going to be our 4 guys this year.
So no Harry Legg this year?
Who?
Whatever his name was.
Harry Higgs?
Harry Higgs.
He didn't make it.
Okay.
He's there, not by choice, but by force. Harry Legg, yes. Anyway, very good, Casey. So I just wanted to make sure you knew when you were putting the thing together tomorrow, the template, that you can anticipate my level of involvement in the radio program.
Gotcha.
Very good.
You know what? Coming up, we have to talk about the Democrats. I know, believe it or not. They're doing a lot of stuff right now. You got the Jake Tapper book. You've got Buttigieg, who is in Iowa.
Buttigieg. What is he doing? He said he's not. He's running for president, right?
Well, it seems to be. He's running on values.
But he had a town hall or something, right?
He did.
So a guy's not running for anything, has a town hall for no apparent reason.
Right. What did he say? He's campaigning for values and ideas. Okay. So we have to talk about that.
These guys wouldn't know honesty if it struck them between the eyes, struck them between the eyes with a ball peen hammer.
And you've got David Hogg. He's out.
Hogg, yeah.
And then you had Dingle sleeping. So we've got to talk about all of that.
The sleeping woman, I think, is my favorite story because her husband was in that seat before she was, and he was 9 million years old and still there, and then she took over for him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a voter of that district, you let some guy who didn't know his name be in there at the end, and now you've got his wife
who's napping,
who can't stay awake. So
Right.
Congratulations, boy.
So we'll talk about all that coming up.
All right, so people are up in arms that Mike and I went to lunch yesterday, and here's what I have always told people, and Casey will back me up on this because I don't think she quite believed it, but you experienced it very quickly in real time. I am capable, unlike any person I've ever met, of drawing a line in the sand and compartmentalizing my life, and I have to be able to do that.
Have you met my husband?
Well, that's true. Yeah,
He's
right.
able to do this as well.
Yes, it drives you insane. And I think men, and this is not in any way a knock on women, I think men are better at doing this than women are. But to me, I am very capable of compartmentalizing my life and putting things in separate boxes where they deserve to go. And so for that, as it applies to Micah is the person who has been my friend and had a very good impact on my personal life. And Micah, as a pastor and a friend, has been phenomenal for me. And I am capable of still seeing Micah as those things, yet the moment Monday morning at 8 a.m. when he becomes lieutenant governor, or anything he's doing in the capacity as lieutenant governor, I don't see him as my friend. I see him as someone I am
forced to pay
as a taxpayer, and thus he doesn't get any special treatment above anybody else. And I am fully capable of sitting down with Micah and having a conversation with him as a friend, and then the moment that ends, coming back in here the next day, and if he's done something, doesn't anything I'm aware of worth commentating on, but commentating on that thing, whether it's the car, the 3/5 thing, or whatever, I am capable of blocking that off. And it is amazing to me because people say this about Abdul all the time, like, how can you and Abdul be friends? I am capable of having relationships with people that I do not agree with politically, or in this case, as an elected person, people that I'm maybe not necessarily the most happy with politically. And I do find it somewhat disturbing that it appears so many people are not capable of doing that. I have all sorts of friends that are liberal people or people I don't agree with politically. And if we can't do that in our society, if we can't hold people accountable and yet also be friends with them, or politically disagree with them and also be friends with them, I do worry about what that's saying for us as a collective.
Well, this is good news for Braun. All he has to do is become your friend. And you can still have some powwows.
Well, I said this yesterday because Mike and I talked about a variety of things, and I don't think I'm going to reveal anything that's personal or shouldn't be talked about in public, and I also don't think I'm going to say anything I hadn't said on the air, which is I'm very disappointed in that duo as a collective. I think part of encouraging people to vote for Braun was, hey, there's going to be this outside the system guy there, in the case of Micah, who has no strings held over him that can freely speak, because the only string that is held over him is us, the people. And if you vote for Braun, even if he gets squirrely, you're going to have a guy in there that's going to give you a show, so you're going to get your money's worth if Braun goes sideways. And I think people are frustrated because they don't think that has happened. There has not been the level of accountability from his office that people expected, and they're disappointed in that.
Yeah. Did you express that to him?
Well, I've expressed that to him numerous times, and we talked about that and some other things yesterday. And look, Micah, I think, is a phenomenal person. I think he's a phenomenal human being. I think he has made several serious missteps. in terms of the way he's run that office, in terms of the things that he's done. Look, here's the reality. If Micah had just done the things he campaigned on, he could probably be the governor in a couple of years, as hated as Braun is right now. The problem is Micah is perceived to have teamed up with Braun, not held Braun accountable when he needs to be held accountable, and thus people are lumping them together versus seeing him as a separate entity.
And I really wonder if that is out of respect for Mike Braun as the person, or if it's out of respect for the office of governor.
I don't know. I didn't really get into that with him. What I do know is Micah is, and I think it's wrong, and this is one of the things we talked at length about, and I think he's talked about it with me on the show, so I don't think I'm breaking any confidence. Micah genuinely believes this property tax thing
is really going to be resolved.
Can be salvaged.
Mm-hmm.
He genuinely believes that these people who, despite stabbing us in the back time after time after time, can somehow be swayed or be encouraged or whatever. And I've told him numerous times, I think he is either highly naive on this or, I think he's coming from a place of a genuine nature when he says it. And I just vehemently disagree. I think you have to burn it all to the ground now. I think these people have proven themselves, the governor, many of these lawmakers, to be totally untrustworthy, rotten human beings who are only interested in public office and only interested in the power that it affords them, and are not interested at all in helping you, the regular person.
Well, time and time again, we've seen it from the governor, right? He stood right in front of all of us, rolled up his sleeves and said he was going to fight, and then rolled over.
And I told Micah this yesterday, and again, I don't think there's anything I haven't said on air, which is, when Braun, in a weird way, when Braun stabbed everyone in the back, including me above all else, right? Because I was the person directly engaged with him and his people throughout this process. There was a sense of relief for me, because while we have tried to cover Braun, we tried to cover Braun honestly and as fairly as we could. There was a part of me that every time Braun would do something, you'd say, I've got to stay engaged with this guy because it's the only chance at the property tax fix that's left. And I wanted Braun to be something he was not. I believed, and again, we talked about this yesterday, and I think we talked about this on air plenty of times. I take blame because I believed I could make Braun something he was not, which is if we showed how passionate and how many people were passionate about this, and if we just showed it over and over and over again, he would say, okay.
He would believe too.
I'm with you.
You couldn't make him want something more than he wanted it himself, though.
That's right. And I don't think Braun ever wanted to be involved in the property tax fight. If he would have campaigned on it when he ran in the primary. If he would have, he wouldn't have put out that horrible plan initially that we had to debunk. The whole step, it was like a parent leading a child around, where we had to lead him through this whole process.
The worst part to me is he even said it in the State of the State address when he said, I've been hearing it from all over the state, property taxes.
Right.
And then he turned around and said, well, they're just not hearing it. Which one is it? They both can't be true.
And so this is where I never do this. And I think part of what I get frustrated with Micah was I believed, okay, between Micah being in that position with that platform and us having this platform, we've never had somebody on our team on the inside we always fought from the outside. Now we can fight it on two fronts. We can go at these guys on two fronts. And it's like the other flank didn't, like we stormed the beach and we're like, hey, there's a guy behind us that's going to give us cover. And
they weren't there.
That ain't been happening. And so I think that's where a lot of the people's frustration is with all of this. But throughout this whole process, I felt like there was some sort of string that was attached to me, that it's like at all points, you don't have to defend the guy, but you can't always say exactly what you really think, because if you lose him, you lose the whole chance at property tax. And now, I told Micah yesterday, said, there ain't no strings for me on anybody. I can unload on all y'all because all y'all didn't follow through. And there's no point in engaging. There's no point in trying to be a part of it, because they can tell us whatever they want to tell us, and you can't believe them. There's no trust involved here with anybody in that state house not named Andrew Ireland or Mike Young or Craig Haggard. Nobody else has the trust anymore because they've blown it, and they do it so nonchalantly. I mean, let's take Pressel, for example. Comes out on that road funding bill. Yeah, there's this tolling capacity in there, and the governor can do it on his own, but it'll be years before you have to worry about that. 2 weeks later, Braun's at the Munster Chamber of Commerce. Hey, I'm coming for that tolling.
Mm-hmm.
These guys lie about everything.
Right. And that's the thing about trust. It's lost in buckets and gained back in drops.
And so to bring this whole thing full circle, which is we should be able to sit down and form friendships with people we don't necessarily agree with politically. There's lots of people we have on this show, these reporters and stuff. Politically, I don't agree with them on things, but I have friendships with them because I'm capable of separating those things. And in the case of Micah, I will always consider him a friend. He had a great influence on my life. He is a great pastor. He has led many people to the Lord and had positive impacts on their existence. That hasn't changed. He still does all those things very well. I think he's done a pretty crappy job at lieutenant governor. That's my right to have that opinion as a taxpayer who pays his salary. And I would hope, and I'm pleased that he's mature enough that I can sit down and express that to him, and hopefully we can still draw the line. Now, some of the people around Micah, I think, stink at that. And I think one of the major issues Micah has is he doesn't have enough people around him telling him what he needs to hear, not what he wants to hear. And I think until he separates that and gets rid of some of those people, I think he's going to be in this position of not fully understanding or appreciating
how the people feel.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, look, that would be my challenge to you as the public. Work on that. Try to be friends with people that you may not agree with politically, understand their perspectives, listen to them on things, get them to listen to you on things, and maybe you'll find points of consensus. But we shouldn't be able to not sit down with people that we're having issues with in the political realm or the political world.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This May, you've got a chance to see what an IndyCar driver's dream garage really looks like. WIBC's Tales from the Track, presented by Relay Indiana, takes you inside Graham Ray Hall Performance, a high-octane hangout where racing meets luxury. Hammer and Nigel sit down with Graham for great stories, laughs, and insights from someone who grew up on the hallowed grounds of the IMS. But this backstage pass to speed, style, and surprises is sold out. The only place to register to win tickets is WIBC.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed the musty smell in your home? I hope not, because damp smells mean that you could have a crawl space problem. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your crawl space and get to the root cause of the problem. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hammer and Nigel here for Bill Demery. Look, one day the stock market's up, the next day it's down. If you're in your 20s or 30s, it's not a big deal. But the older you get, it creates uncertainty in retirement. But imagine when you've invested $200,000 or more and received a 20% upfront bonus on your deposit, plus a return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years, and your money backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. To learn more about it, call our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy, 317-648-5120. Get an upfront 20% bonus on your deposit, a return that's averaged 7% a year for the past 10 years, and your money backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Tired of hard water stains, dry skin, or smelly water? Well or City Water, C&J, the official water treatment sponsors of the Pacers and Fever, gives you softer water, cleaner drinking water, with no more taste and odor issues thanks to a high-efficiency water softener, advanced water treatment, and reverse osmosis systems. Make every drop in your home pure, fresh, and worry-free. Best prices of the year right now with C&J's Well Water Bundles and City Water Bundles. C&J for great systems, great people too. 317-733-SOFT.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see their large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and Napoleon, along with the Big Green Egg.
She's sleeping. She's sleeping so beautifully. 71-year-old Democrat Representative Debbie Dingell from Michigan has fallen asleep in a hearing room this morning, and she's just snoring away.
You ever fall asleep in a meeting?
No, not in a meeting. No. I mean, I've come close, but I've woken myself
Never
up.
full snooze.
Shook it off. I mean, she is like snoring. Her mouth is making the little movements right in front of everybody.
I had a teacher in college. I don't even remember what the class was now, but it was like it was one of the classes I had to take.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever the class was, I knew, I'm going to get an A in this class. But you had to show up. You got an attendance. But there was nothing in the attendance requirement that said you had to stay awake.
You have to be awake.
And she used to yell at me all the time. I said, lady, I'm going to get an A in this class. I
here.
have to be here. If you lift this attendance requirement,
Mm-hmm.
I will certainly sleep at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I work all night. I work overnights.
Yeah.
And because I'm not trying to be a leech on the taxpayers, I'm paying for this all myself as I go. Cut me a little slack here. I'm going to take a snooze, and then I'm going to get an A in this class. I'm going to show up to everything. And then she left me alone.
Were you like the girl from Ferris Bueller's Day Off who slobbered all over herself when she fell asleep? Got a little drool on the desk. So it's like when you see things like this, you just think, wow, working in Congress or, for your government sounds like a pretty good gig. You get this sense of power and entitlement, insider stock trading information. You can sleep on the job. There's no accountability, no performance metrics. Sounds pretty good, right?
Now let's review who she is. So she's from Michigan. She's a U.S. rep from Michigan. Her husband was John Dingell, and he was there from 1955 until 2014. So 60 years.
Yeah.
He was in public office for 60 years.
Yeah.
And then she took over right after him. And this is where, and we started the show today talking about Jefferson Shreve and this stock trading stuff. And on one hand, now look, it's not my district, right? So I don't have any say. I didn't have a vote, didn't anything. But it's easy to be outraged at these people because the behavior is outrageous. But if you know what they are and you vote for them, who saw Jefferson Shreve run for mayor of Indianapolis, which was pretty well publicized, whether you lived in Indianapolis or not, any basic amount of research should have revealed what just a complete loser that guy was. And people voted for him. He's some rich, aloof weirdo who clearly lives to make money. Well, you can't be mad if the guy does what you knew he was. And what is he in Congress? He's a weird, aloof guy who lives to make money. And no matter how much money he has, whether it's $700 million or $500 million or whatever his net worth is, it's never going to be enough because that's his value. That's what he covets. That's his religion, is making money. I don't think he has any kids of his own, and that's what he does. No, it's never enough. He bought a congressional seat. He tried to buy the mayor's office.
He wanted to be in office. That was his goal.
The same thing with the Dingell family. What possible new idea? Okay, after we've reached, now I don't think people should be in office 20 years, but after 20 years in office, what new idea do you have?
How to stay there? Oh, that's not a new idea.
Now, John Dingell did it times 3.
Right.
He took the limit. When you're way past any new ideas, right? Am I doing that right? 1955, and if you were born in 1955 in 2014, you basically been 60. Yeah. So he did that times 3, and then the voters kept voting for him. He wasn't coronated. Somebody had to vote him in, and then
his wife.
his wife was put in there.
Mm-hmm. And her big thing was that back in April of 2020, during the pandemic, there was a huge protest in Lansing against Big Stretch and Gretchen Whitmer's stay-at-home order. And Dingell came out and she was very critical of the event. Her problem with the event was that the protesters were lacking social distancing and weren't wearing masks.
By the way, John Dingell, he changed districts. He was in Congress so long, he changed districts 4 times. That's how many redistrictings he went through. And he kept just representing new people, new populations, new whatever. Just leave me in awe. And this is why our country's in the shape it's in. When we vote these people into office over and over, and their family.
I was going to say, and their family.
Over and over. Like, everybody know, take my rep, for example. This will play out next year probably for me. Jim Baird, if you were to look up totally worthless in the dictionary, there would be a picture of him. He was worthless as a state rep. For some reason, some sort of hypnosis, although his competition was Diego Morales, so in his congressional race, they elevated this guy who voted for all the tax increases and everything else to the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House. What's he done? The same thing. When he retires, which is rumored to be next year, his loser son, Bo Baird, who's as bad as being a state rep as Jim Baird was, he's going to run for Congress. If you vote for him, why would you think you're going to get anything different? We keep bitching about the thing, but then we keep electing the people who do the thing we're bitching about, Casey. Does this make any sense to anyone?
Well, and it just what you said, his competition was Diego Morales. I mean, there's another guy. He just wants to be in office. Doesn't matter which one it is. Just put me in one.
Yeah, it's and Braun's brother ran for that seat too that year. So your choices in my district in 2018 for the open seat were Jim Baird, professional tax raiser, Mike Braun's brother. That was the same year Braun was buying the U.S. Senate seat.
Yeah.
Or Diego Morales. Boy, howdy.
Wow.
Did I have a pick of the litter there, Case?
Yeah, you did. Okay, so we've got some revelations on the new Jake Tapper book, so you don't have to buy it. Tony Katz does not want you to buy that book, so we'll share with you what's in it.
I didn't even know there was a book until I heard that promo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why was he giving him publicity? Why are we giving this guy? Nobody even knew he had a book.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What Thursday will bring. For Moss Roofing, I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Strong to severe storms are possible Thursday evening and again on Friday. Forecasters are warning of damaging winds, hail, and even tornadoes.
But certainly anywhere in Indianapolis either day could have a strong storm.
That's Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. Temperatures are expected to climb into the mid to upper 80s on Thursday. A landspout tornado touching down in Randolph County near Winchester Tuesday evening. It becomes the 47th twister to touch down in the state so far this year. Thankfully, it caused no damage. A developer says they're pulling their application of building a large data center in Hancock County. Surge Development LLC had planned to rezone over 750 acres of farmland for the development project. And NDOT officials say work on the Level Up 31 project to redesign the I-465 and US 31 interchange will begin in Carmel either this summer or in the fall. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, graduation is quite an accomplishment, and congratulations to all our graduates on behalf of Life Church. Life Church partners with families. Life Church pastors are there to walk through difficult times and to celebrate the wins. To learn more about how Life Church could be there for your family, check them out on the web, lifechurchin.com. Learn more about their 4 campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Their great online services, lifechurchin.com.
Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Start her engine by racing into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Miss M's annual open house is Saturday. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Saturday only. Miss M's on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
All right, so we got some breaking news that has just come out. Our news gathering partners at Wish TV with the story. The Indiana Parole Board has rejected the clemency plea of Benjamin Ritchie related to his death sentence for killing police officer William Toney.
Yep. So now it'll be up to Braun to see.
Yes, and that is ultimately how the ultimate authority rests with the governor. In any case, the parole board makes a recommendation, and the parole board, they did not release a public vote this time, which I think a lot of times they tend to do that, but they did issue an actual recommendation, which has been released to Braun, and that is to allow the execution to proceed as planned on the 20th of May.
Yeah, he had petitioned the board to commute his death sentence to life without parole, but the board apparently they considered the testimony of his family. Can you imagine that poor family? I mean, not only did they lose their loved one and have to go through all of that, but then they have to go to another hearing.
Yeah, and there were two of them. Obviously, the one he being Benjamin Ritchie got to speak at. It was his opportunity to ask for mercy from the parole board, and then the second one was for the victim's family and friends. And this murder happened in 2000, and this execution should have been done a long time ago, but due to the state not having the appropriate drugs, he has been given a substantial stay. And this Benjamin Ritchie guy was on TV bragging about his murder. I think he got the badge number or something tattooed on himself. It's hard to believe.
Doesn't seem like he's seeking forgiveness.
Well, and he's claimed at the end, and you never know somebody's heart. And he claimed that he has changed his ways, and I believe he said that he had found the Lord, and I hope that is true, as he's apparently about to meet his maker. But it is a little hard in terms of the legal system in which we operate to say, after all these years of a lack of remorse, and quite frankly, at times it appeared going out of his way to brag about what he viewed as an accomplishment, which was murdering a police officer, that there would be any sort of mercy from the legal system after years of the behavior in which he engaged in.
Yep. Let's talk about some key revelations from the upcoming book, Original Sin, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again.
Wait. Now they're writing a book about Biden's. What the hell good does that do us now?
Well, this is coming from Jake Tapper, who, was contributing factor of all of the cover-up and now wants to make some money. So here are some of the key bullet points. Biden's top aides hid his decline. What? You think? So I guess a senior aide had revealed that they were shielding Biden from his own staff to hide his cognitive and physical decline. This started in 23.
Wait, started in 23? What planet are they living on?
Yeah. Well, you remember they would schedule Biden from 10 until 4.
Yeah.
They shortened all of his speeches. He was using the short stairs on Air Force One. Yeah.
Well, but
these are all some of the things that they did.
But it's like if somebody came out and wrote a book and said Rob Kendall is a 5'8", 155-pound white guy. Yeah.
That's not exactly a revelation.
You see it every day.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's like, what? These people should be ashamed of themselves because these people helped cover it up.
Yes.
Everybody knew what he was. He talked to dead people. He couldn't walk off a stage. He couldn't remember things.
And then they were given awards at the White House Correspondents' Dinner for it.
Yes.
Apparently, a former Obama advisor went on the record criticizing Biden, saying that he was a blank and nightmare, and he totally blanked things up by not stepping aside. Obama repeatedly had to rescue Biden at a fundraiser. You remember seeing him Obama help Biden off the stage. George Clooney was there. He couldn't even recognize George Clooney, one of his big supporters.
He talked to a dead congresswoman who had just died.
Right. And aides had considered putting him in a wheelchair, I guess, because of his mobility issues.
All right. Abdul is going to join us next. He got some interesting audio from some of these Hamilton County mayors about what they plan to do with this ability to raise local taxes now under the new property. Because remember, JD was like, just vote them out. No big deal. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Abdul went to the Hamilton County Spring Dinner and got some details on how some of these local officials plan to operate.
He's up next on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon. Jeff Boggs fills in for Big Nige, and we'll have a lot of laughs and the biggest stories. 93 WIBC.
Greetings from our agency, your Indiana Health Insurance Pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for making us national sales leaders once again for 2024. Crazy sign-up periods are at last over. If you were told the ACA and it's still Obamacare was your only option, that's just not true. If you were told since you've signed up already, you must keep your ACA program for a year, that's not true either. If you do not have serious health problems, and God forbid make a living wage, the ACA is your worst option, and it can be canceled at any time. We feature coverages guaranteed age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. Self-employed, early retiree, or ACA victim, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. As always, God bless America. Peace through strength and common sense government.
Spring showers might bring flowers, but they can also bring roof leaks. Strong winds, heavy rain can expose hidden damage, leading to costly water issues inside your home. And the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Water can seep into your attic, walls, and insulation, causing mold, rot, and expensive structural damage. The good news? Moss Roofing. They offer free inspections. Whether it's a small leak or a big roofing concern, their expert team will assess the damage and provide reliable, cost-effective solutions. With over 35 years of experience, Moss Roofing knows how to protect your home from the unpredictable spring weather. Don't wait for a minor drip to turn into a major repair. For top-notch roofing services, trust Moss Roofing to keep you dry this spring. For a job done right every single time, visit mossroofing.com. Call 317-747-3665. 317-747-3665 or go online to Moss Roofing. M-O-S-S. mossroofing.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. 800-890-5075. That's 800-890-5075. Paid for by Term Direct.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
The financial advisor industry is a flawed system. Find out how to fight back and protect your retirement on Expedition Retirement. Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Rock me on the water, sister, will you soothe my fever ground?
Casey, it's our opportunity to call some bull crap here.
Oh, we like doing that, don't we?
It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here, and when we think of bull crap, we think of one guy.
I would hope so.
He's an author. He's a broadcaster. He's a provocateur. Abdul Hakim Shabazz. Hello.
How's it going, my friend?
Okay, so before we get into this little expose you've got up there over at indypolitics.org with these Hamilton County mayors, David Shelton came on our program last week. Yeah, I think he went on with you as well at Indy Politics. Knox County Clerk said he's going to run against Diego. I get the feeling that other people are pondering getting in this race against Diego Morales for Secretary of State as well. What have you heard?
There is Libertarian who's
No,
going to be running.
I'm saying on the Republican side. I'm saying like people who can actually win this race.
Well, like I bring up Libertarian for a reason, because for Libertarians, the Secretary of State's race is important because that helps them keep their ballot access.
Oh, that's right. They got to get what, 2%?
Yeah, 2% to keep their ballot access. Now, with that said, however, on the Republican side, I think right now is just Diego and Dave Shelton, because if anybody else gets in the race, it becomes sort of that three-person. Diego has his group of whatever you call those people.
Yes.
Merry band of misfits.
Idiots.
Yeah. So I think as long as it's a one-on-one type race, I think Dave has a better than puncher's chance of actually winning. Because what I have been hearing though is the delegates are having some serious buyer's remorse
with Diego
on Morales. Because remember, when they voted for him, it wasn't because they liked him. They were against Holly Sullivan, who was Eric Holcomb's pick, because of COVID and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because you had reported Curtis Hill might be considering running for Secretary of State. I've heard some other names, too. Does Shelton have, you and I talked about this today on State House Happenings, when you're a high-ranking politician, you need to be competent, which Dave Shelton definitely is competent. He would be great at running that office, no doubt. And the problem is he's super boring. And you need a little bit of, as we used to describe it, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da with your politician. And is Dave Shelton too boring to wow the delegates? Because that's the hardcore people.
Actually, I think in this case, boring might actually be a good thing.
Yeah.
I think not so much a song and dance, the singing frog from the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yes,
but just a little bit, a little bit of spice goes a long way. I mean, maybe a funny line or two here and there, but the whole Harold Hill song and dance. You don't need the Music Man to run against Diego Morales. You've had enough of that already. Boring. Actually, I'm thinking between Diego Morales and Todd Rokita, boring might actually be a good thing.
Okay,
and very. I'm sorry, take it back. Not necessarily boring, but just no drama.
Yeah.
I think no drama is more appropriate phrase to use.
What'd you think of his performance when he announced it here on the Kendall and Casey show?
I thought he did fine. He spelled out why he wanted to run, what he wanted to do, and it's not just Diego Morales. Like the Secretary of State does other things. It's elections. It's the driver's license, not driver's license, but motor vehicle, auto dealers, and Securities and Exchange Division. And so I think Dave has a good grasp of what's going on. The question is, does anyone else get in? And if Curtis Hill does get in, and Robbie Wright, because Curtis Hill's been talking about getting into the race, if Curtis Hill gets in, I think actually that sort of split works in reverse, because you got the Diego people here and the Curtis Hill people here, and they're basically the same part of that Venn diagram.
Yeah.
So for a Dave Shelton type character, the best thing that could possibly happen is Curtis Hill actually gets in to the Secretary of State's race.
Okay, so Casey and I got into this earlier. We read this email we got from our buddy Danny Niederberger, and he gave us permission to share the email. He and a couple other folks had really tried to pin Diego Morales down on why he won't come off who paid on the trip to India. And I know we read this earlier, but I want to read it again, and I'm reading it as Danny wrote it. This is not a direct quote from Diego, but this is what he wrote. He said, he said he doesn't expect anyone to disclose how much of their own money they spend. As a general practice, he lets other businesses / organizations decide if they want to be known. When businesses get involved with conservatives, they tend to be targeted. Take Tesla as an example. They were generous enough to help provide resources for some of the trips with no direct benefit. He said he would hate to see a negative effect on their business / organization because of it. Oh, I read that and I said, what a load of crap that this guy, as the Secretary of State, goes to another country to do something that is not in his job purview, which is economic development. You have no idea what he did there, and he's trying, or who he was involved with, or other, and then he goes, well, I just don't want people to get a bad rap for saying that they sponsored my trip or paid for me to go there. What a colossal pile of untransparent crap. Am I wrong?
And also, no, you're not. And also, there's a legal aspect of this, too, because if you're there on economic development trying to bring jobs to the state of Indiana, are you there as Secretary of State or are you there as Diego Morales?
Well, he was definitely, from all of these social media posts, as the Secretary of State of Indiana.
Because if you're there as Secretary of State and you've got people footing the bill for this trip, and it's not like the IEDC Foundation, which is a private organization, are these campaign contributions now? Because someone's going to have to disclose something. Otherwise, there's going to be some very, very sketchy legal ground. If I was Diego Morales, I'd be worried enough. I'm already skating on legal thin ice to begin with, and so why even add to this?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is for him to act like it is not in the public interest. You are one of the highest-ranking officials in the state. You go to a foreign country for 10 days in the middle of the legislative session. You blow off your obligation, which is your budget hearing. You have no economic development responsibility in that position. And for you to act like you don't have some ethical obligation to disclose to the public who's paying for you to go on this trip. And I am amazed that why is no one in the State House holding him accountable? Have you been able to get to the bottom of that?
Well, we just got out of session a couple days ago. We're still dealing with all that. One of the things I plan to work on this week is to submit some FOIA requests to the Attorney General's office, to the Secretary of State's office. I get them all confused these days. They're like, hey, who paid for your trip? Disclose the name and how much they paid for it. And if you don't, then we'll take it to the next logical step. Because I think I may know a couple people who may have footed the bill for his trip. I don't want to put their names out just yet because I want to get confirmation. But if it's who I think it is, I think they'll be willing to talk and chat.
Okay, real quick before we let you go, Abdul is our guest. You have up at Indy Politics the mayors, the Hamilton County mayors were the featured speakers at the Hamilton County fall dinner.
Yeah, spring dinner.
Spring dinner. I'm sorry, spring dinner. And that was, what is that? That's Sue Finkham, the mayor of Carmel, that's Scott Fadness, the mayor of Fishers, Chris Jensen, the mayor of Noblesville, and Scott Willis, the mayor of
Rob Kendall's
Westfield.
most wanted.
If I end up floating face down in a river somewhere, here's the prime suspect list all in one place. Did they give any inclination? Because like yesterday, J.D. Prescott was on with a state representative, and he's like, well, just because people can raise their lit, which they gave these locals the ability to do it doesn't mean they're going to do it. And you have no proof of that. I've heard these people talk in various interviews, and without expressly saying we're going to do it, it sounds like they're fully prepared to raise people's income tax when the time comes to be able to do it.
I think the read I got from Sue, Chris, Scott, and from the other mayor, the mayor of Westfield, was they don't want to do it, but they may not have a choice because because the thing they said was interesting and something you and I talked about before is if you live in that neck of the woods, you expect a certain quality of life, you expect certain amenities and the whole 9 yards because that's the new economic development tool. And the question is, are people willing to pay for it? And I think in that crowd, they actually are. Now, like I said, please note, Hamilton County is sort of divided by 32 to the north. It's a different creature than 32 to the south. But I do think that the audience understand that government costs money. If we want to keep our amenities, keep our quality of life, there's something we need to seriously have a discussion. Now, that's not to say they're going to do it, but at least have the discussion that they're going to do it.
All right, you can find him over at indypolitics.org. Abdul Keep thank you.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Spring in Indy, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.